Insights about the upcoming Mental Health Awareness Week that kicks off on May the 15th. And the theme for this year is around anxiety. I'll also be sharing some non-technical as well as technical solutions that's going to aid you in the kind of recovery around mental ill health. Before I dive into any of that, if you're one of my regulars, welcome back. Great to see you here. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Bybreen and I help baby boomers reinvent themselves psychologically, practically, and technically so they can thrive in their third act of life. So, as I said, on May the 15th, we have this Mental Health Awareness Week, and the theme is around anxiety. Now, over the last 5 years in particular, we've seen this prominence regarding the conversation, the public conversation around mental health and well-being, which was really kind of kick-started by what is now the defunct Fab Four in the form of Harry, Meghan, William, and Kate. And they introduced their campaign about Every Mind Matters. So, therefore, this sense of normalizing the conversation with regards to mental health is very much on the agenda. But here in the UK, we need to step back to about 2001, when public sector organizations as well as nonprofits started to raise the conversation with regards to the government and what can the government do to improve the mental well-being and the mental health of citizens, because there's a recognition that there are multiple factors. For example, poor health, poor housing, lack of financing that can really impact people's lives. So there was the conversation around, well, what type of legislation could be in place that would reduce workplace bullying, which is one cause of mental health and illness? Or do they need to provide proper housing, or is there a way for an increase with regards to welfare benefits? So they are some of the conversations that were started back in 2001, and over the last 20 years in particular, or 22 years now, there's been this emergence of the conversation around what can we do to improve our mental well-being. So here we are in 2023, and one of the major conversations is around the cost of living crisis that's impacting on so many people, that is tipping us towards, flexibility and fluctuation with regards to our mental health. So, how do you know if you're experiencing anxiety? Well, some of the factors, as I said, could be around the cost of living. It could be that you're in a toxic workplace. It could be that you're part of a dysfunctional relationship or friendships or dysfunctional family, or there's isolation that has built up, or you may have been made redundant. You found it difficult to get back into the world of work. You're now anxious about your pension contributions. Will you have savings that will aid you through your latter years? There's a whole host of issues externally that can really shape and impact upon mental health. So, how would you know? How do you know if you're experiencing anxiety? Well, here are some of the symptoms that you could begin to look out for. But also, if you're a caregiver, here's some of the things to observe in the people that you care for. So, is there a restlessness, for example? There's an inability to focus. Is there this breathlessness? There's a difficulty in terms of breathing or catching your breath. Do you find that there's this racing heart rate, that you're feeling as if your heart is about to burst through your chest and you've got these chest palpitations? Is it a sense of that you have difficulty in sleeping and there's, you can't actually rest? Is it a sense that you're feeling isolated? Have you lost interest in your hobbies, for example, or connecting with friends? There's a whole host of reasons as to why you will be experiencing anxiety. So what could you begin to do about it? Well, some of the solutions that are non-technical solutions could be about conversations. One of the things that we're experiencing is that there are too many people suffering in silence. There's a lack of friendship, or there's, even a handful of people that they could turn to in their moments of distress. So conversations, who is it that you could confide in, or could you be that friend who is observing that your friends or somebody close to you is struggling? Could you be that listening ear? And at times, that's all that people actually require. Is it a sense that, could you introduce an exercise practice? Now, one of the things that has aided my mental well-being, and trust me, I really have been challenged over the years, like everybody else. I'm not an exception, but one of the things that has aided my well-being has I've maintained an exercise practice for 55 years. It started with the egg and spoon race when I was in primary school, but this sense of, exercise has really aided my well-being. And that's not to say that I have not been challenged. I don't want you to walk away with the impression that I haven't, because I really have. But is there a way that you can begin to introduce an exercise practice? And it can start in really kind of micro ways. Is it about a walk? Is it about doing exercises at home? Or go for a walk in nature. One of the wonderful things is that, walking in nature is really soothing to the senses. That's something that you could do, as well as, is there a way that you could build in or kickstart a meditative practice? It could start with 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes in the evening, and then building that up. And that's a wonderful way for you to begin to rise in consciousness about what's actually going on in your mind. What are the thoughts that are occupying your mind? Now, on a personal level, one of the things that I did for about 12 years was I was a practicing Buddhist. And what that meant was that I actually had a structured practice around meditation. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but from my own life, that's one of the things that I did. So, every morning, every evening, there would be this sense of practicing chanting. So it was a rhythmic chant. And that could be 15 minutes morning and evening, or it could extend to something that was called a tozo. And that's an extensive period of chanting for hours that could go on for about 7 hours, which is really challenging, but really kind of rejuvenating of the spirit. You could also develop a breath work practice. Now, that could be through yoga, or, just deep breathing, finding ways where you can begin to soothe your internal world. And then just moving more externally, if you're having troubles or anxiety around your housing, for example, or money troubles, is there an organization that you could connect to that's going to aid with your well-being? Or are there conversations that you could have about your world of work? And so one of the things that the British Medical Association highlighted was actually 9 out of 10 people struggle with actually admitting they have mental health issues, because they fear that they will be stigmatized or they will be discriminated within their world of work, and hence why they hold on and not mention anything. And one of the kind of side effects of that is the NHS, which is the largest employer in the UK of 1.3 million people and the fifth largest employer in the world. Recent data, what they have seen is that 20% of their workforce actually struggles with mental health, and the sickness rate and absences from work is because of mental health issues. So all of this is pointing towards, what are some of the practical, non-technical ways that you can begin to soothe your life? And one of the things is about having conversations with people. Could you be that person for others, but also open yourself up to other people? Because the whole idea is about bringing a level of stability to your mental well-being. And the World Health Organization describes mental fitness, or mental wellness, is our ability to manifest, the skills and talents that we intrinsically have. It's also our ability to learn well, as well as our ability to work well, and then to bring value to ourselves and to other people. So there are some definitions around what does mental wellness actually look like? So, moving beyond the non technical solutions and towards the technical solutions, well, there's a whole host of solutions that are emerging under the framework of the Internet of Things, which forms part of Web 3.0. So, if I just step you back, Web 1.0 was about search. Just think about the days when Google first burst onto the scene, and we're still using Google or other alternatives like DuckDuckGo. But the idea is that we would be searching for information. So that was Web 1.0. And then Web 2 is about connection and communication. Just think about, Facebook and all the other similar apps that bring us into community with other people. And then Web point 3, which is where we are now, is this confluence of the online world meeting the offline world, and it's called through the Internet of Things. And essentially, what this means, it's the connectivity that lies between devices, sensors, and software that are all connected to the internet. And what happens is they are able to pull in real-time data that then feeds productivity or improvements in different areas of our lives. So, IoT solutions are ways in which our mental wellness can be aided. And this happens in a variety of different ways. For example, you've got like smart watches. And so here they're monitoring, movement, breathing, sleep patterns, for example, as well as changes in mood. And so you could use these smart watches as a way to monitor your health and well-being. Then there are smart homes. Here, this is where there are sensors that are placed in the home. So the sensors could be on furniture or on doors or on appliances. And here they're tracking what's actually going on in the home. So let's say, for example, you're somebody who ordinarily, on average wakes up at 8 o'clock every morning. But the sensors are picking up the sense that this person is not getting up until about 11 o'clock or midday. And that could be an indication that here is somebody who's falling into depression. So the sensors can pick this up, pick up the data. And one of the great things about the IoT is that it uses AI algorithms that are analyzing the data that then helps to pull together a personalized plan. Or you could have cameras and microphones that are in the home. And so what they will do is pick up, let's say that there's changes in your speech pattern. If you're somebody, for example, that's, quite enthusiastic and really chatty, but the microphone is picking up that you're now becoming monosyllabic, that's an indication that something may be troubling you and is impacting upon your mental health. So there are a couple of examples around what can happen in the home. And then there are like smart virtual assistants in the form of Alexa. That's the Apple one, and then Google Assistant. And here again, these are assistants that can help you with daily reminders, when to take your medication. Are there positive affirmations that you could begin to tell yourself that's going to aid your well-being? One of them could be, I am well. And the repetition of positive affirmations could build your well-being. Is there a meditation practice that you're building in and that you do at 8 o'clock in the morning, for example? So smart assistants help with building up mental health. And then there's a device called Ellie Q, which again is a smart companion that's in the home. And this companion, again, helps with these daily interactions. And so therefore you can be having conversations with the likes of LEQ. However, there are some limitations because it's great in terms of reminders, take your medication, or, do you want to listen to this type of music, or do you want to be in conversation about something? But what a number of these wearable techs or smart technology, what they don't do very well is to actually handle the complex issues around mental fragility. So if you're moving towards Alzheimer's, for example, then these types of products aren't very good. Another barrier with regards to products like LEQ is that they're really expensive. So LEQ, retails for around $1,500. Now that's really expensive. If you happen to be somebody that's wealthy and you're not going to miss £1,500, or if you're in an economy that, is a high wealth economy, then access to these types of appliances could serve you well. But then it brings up this divide. Does that mean that only rich countries and rich people are the only ones that can start affording these devices? What happens to people who are less wealthy? Also, there's an accessibility issue with regards to the smart um, solutions, because if you're not a digital native, which a lot of older people aren't, but if you haven't gone down the road of digital transformation and upgrading your skills, then it could provide you with some difficulty with regards to accessing this technology. So they are some of the factors that are shaping what technology can do. But at the same time, another limitation is around, could we become too reliant on technology, which then forces us, it creates even more of a gap, because no man is an island. We all want to be seen, loved, liked, connected, and this sense of belonging. And so technology has its place, but how can you begin to build in or increase human interaction? What can you begin to do to build your social networks? Because if you're somebody who is older, and let's say, for example, your social and friendship network came from your world of work, and if you've been made redundant and had difficulty getting back into work, or if you're now retired and your social world was connected to your world of work, and now there's sort of radio silence, this also can enhance your fragility around your mental well-being. So the ways to increase mental fitness are about the offline world, building exercise and meditative practice, something that you can do that helps you to engage. Are there hobbies that you could start to develop or reconnect with? Are there practical solutions in terms of, money advisors, housing advisors that can help you get back into your world so you're feeling more connected and engaged? And then if you're looking at technology, what's the best way that you could use technology in this hybrid way, whereby yes, it's really good in terms of having, this monitoring process that picks up changes, and that's the great thing that data can actually facilitate, together with building out your social network. So it's Mental Health Week, as I said, starting from May the 15th. And the whole idea is, how can we begin to have more interpersonal conversations and more public conversations that aid our increase in mental wellness for ourselves, but also everyone else around us? So let me know how you're actually coping with your mental health and mental well-being. Would love to hear from you. Put them in the comments, in your comments in the comment box below. And if there are any other subjects that you would like me to cover, let me know. I've been looking at the analytics, the behind the scenes of YouTube. And there's an indication that more technology type of conversations and videos you'd like me to do, as well as other things. So I will just continue to share information that could actually help you as a baby boomer thrive in your third act of life. If you know boomers in your life, invite them along every Sunday here at 3:30. And please like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you again next Sunday at 3:30. Stay well. Bye-bye.